what should the elderly do to take care of their home if one of their spouses dies? And, it really comes down to, it doesn't matter if it's the male spouse that passes away or the female spouse, because in most households, you guys are doing the work together. And so when one passes on, it becomes an issue. How do you take care of everything? Well, some of the things that you got to be thinking about is lawn work. Are you going to continue mowing the yard yourself? You're going to have a yard service come in. What about bushes and flowers and things like that? Because all that adds to the cost of having a lawn care service come in. So, those are some of the things you got to talk about. Air conditioning systems. The filter has to be changed on a regular basis. And if you've got just the regular 1-inch filters, somebody's got to change that every month. Now, if you've got the 4 to 6-inch media filters that are with the unit, you can have the AC technician change that whenever they come out to service the unit twice a year. And yes, you should continue getting that unit serviced twice a year, once for the spring, once for the fall, so that it's ready for the hot and cold seasons. But some of the other things, tree trimming. A lot of times we don't worry about stuff like that, but if you let a tree grow too dense where the wind won't go through it, now you become susceptible for that tree to be blown over. And especially if you're in a hurricane-prone area, you get a hurricane come in, wind can't go through the leaves because it's just so dense up there. Tree knocks over, goes into the house. Now you got even more mess to clean up. So these are just routine things that need to be taken care of. Painting. A house paint doesn't last forever. So you've got exterior, you've got interior. There are coatings that you can use on the exterior to make it last a whole lot longer. And I'm not talking about something to put over the paint. I'm talking about there's coatings that you can put on as the paint that will help. A roof. After a hailstorm, who are you going to call to have the roof checked out? Gutters. They got to be cleaned out almost every year to keep them flowing properly. Plumbing work. The sink backs up, something like that. Who's going to take care of those type items? Who's going to do the routine cleaning inside the house as far as vacuuming and cleaning windows and changing light bulbs and doing all the things that have to be done to maintain a home? Well, what I typically recommend to people is start hunting for the contractors you trust to take care of these things. Now, I've got a lot of names on the website to help you out, thipro.com. But some of the stuff you have to get local, like getting the yard work done. Find a company who does this as a living, not a company that's doing it as a secondary thing. Because trust me, the companies who do it as a second income source or part-time, things like that, they're not reliable to keep it cut like it's supposed to be. Same thing goes for the AC. Get away from the handyman and stuff like that and bring in a regular AC contractor. Now, when you're having the AC guy out there, and understand I own an air conditioning company, but one of the things you got to be cautious on, every time they come out, they're going to tell you, oh, well, this capacitor is getting weak, and you may want to consider changing out this electrical hookup over here, and you can put UV lights in to do this, that. Don't do all the add-ons. You don't need all that stuff. If the air conditioning system starts sounding like it's starting hard, then you have different things like the capacitors changed and things like that. Don't do a bunch of that as preventative maintenance. I mean, straight up, a lot of AC companies don't even pay their technicians. The only way they make money is to sell you an upgrade. They make a percentage of it. So one of the questions to ask, are you paid an hourly or a salary, or are you strictly commission? If it's strictly commission, find another AC company, because those are the ones that are ripping people off, where it's strictly commission. They got no choice. They can't pay their mortgage unless they sell you something. Tree trimming. You don't need the trees trimmed every year. Typically once every 3 to 5 years is enough to keep it thinned out, to keep it looking good. But you don't need somebody who just has a pickup truck and says, yeah, I can trim that tree. Get a regular tree trimming service who can come out on a routine basis to help you out with that. And quite frankly, there's a lot of arboricultural, that didn't come out right, did it? Companies out there who can come in and do that for you. And you know what? They really don't cost any more than hiring a fly-by-night guy. But here's the big difference. They know how to make sure the tree doesn't die. They know the right time of year to do the tree trimming. And quite frankly, they're going to be carrying the insurance in case something does happen. So do it that way. Painting, you know what? If you paint every 15 years, you're good. You really don't have to worry about painting. You hear these advertising people all the time. Oh, you got to paint your house every 2 years. I have never in my life painted my house every 2 years. Get a high-end paint when you paint. Don't buy the cheap stuff. Get a high-end paint when you do it, and you'll get 15 years out of it. I mean, quite frankly, that's just the way life is. You spend a little money to save a little money. The roof, typically 20 years is an average lifespan of a roof. So if you're getting close to that, you may end up looking at it. If a storm comes in, you get a trusted roofing contractor, and definitely go to my site for that, because let me tell you, all these guys who are running around in pickup trucks with a magnet on the side, knocking on doors, that is not who you want. You want a regular contractor who has an office and is doing business in your area all the time, not just storm chasing. Gutters, they have to be cleaned out every year. And I put that right after roof, because one of the things you're cleaning out a lot of times is the buildup of the granules off the roof. Now, other things that get on there, you get leaves in there, and you can get pine needles and different things like that. But those granules that get in there actually get extremely heavy and can start sagging the gutters down and pulling the nails loose and stuff. And the thing you got to remember, water goes over the back side of the gutter before it goes over the front. Why they design it that way is beyond me, but it does. And so by keeping the granules out of the gutter, you don't overload them weight-wise, so it doesn't sag as easily. And as far as for somebody to do that, that is a great handyman job. So find you a trusted handyman who can do something like that for you. And you'll find that a lot of time, the company that you use to do your landscaping and your yard work has somebody who can clean those gutters for you as well. That's why you want to have a regular company who does that kind of stuff for you. And then plumbing work. Plumbers are much like the AC technicians. A lot of them don't make money unless they're selling you something. So find a plumbing company who pays their guys on an hourly basis, not strictly commission, so that they're not forced to sell you something in order to pay their mortgage. And if you'll get this list of trusted contractors, your life will be a whole lot easier. And this is something, if both spouses are still alive, why not put this list together now instead of waiting until somebody passes away? And a couple other things that I would probably encourage you to do: get a housekeeper. You don't have to have somebody come in every day. Have somebody come in every 2 weeks. That way they get used to your surroundings and used to what you have in the home and how to take care of it, so that when and if something happens to one, everything can continue flowing like it's supposed to. Now, I'm not going to go into how to eat and food and all that kind of stuff, because quite frankly, if you're hungry, eat. If you're not hungry, eat anyways, because you got to eat to maintain your strength. But you know what? If you take care of all these other things on a regular basis, you'll have something to get up for every day to help keep you moving forward. And one last note, don't worry about leaving the house to the kids. If it needs some work when they get it, so be it. They're big. They can take care of it when the time comes. You don't have to leave them a pristine house if something happens to you. Anyways, that's my 2 cents on taking care of the home. But again, I really encourage you to start this before one of the spouses pass away. That way, it's much easier if one does pass away. Hey, for more quick tips like these, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can get there by going to thipro.com.